Good Tuesday morning, prospect. I want to talk a little bit about the world today. And I was reading an article this morning that said that 40+% of all births are to unwed mothers in the United States. 40%. The article went on and it talked about the fact that back in the 40s during World War II, that number was 3.8%. And in as late as the 50s, it was only 5%. By the 60s, it had risen to 10, and by the 70s, it was well into the 30s. And I try to be very careful because what I am saying here is not criticism of single mothers. It is criticism of men who either don't accept responsibility or don't step up. And in a way, it's a condemnation of us all who do not honor and understand what it is that kept America the country that it was for so long, and that leads to the biggest problem that we have. In his teaching in Matthew, the Pharisees came and tried to test him, saying, does the law allow a man to divorce his wife for any reason? Jesus doesn't answer that question with a yes or no. He says, haven't you read that at the beginning the Creator made them male and female? And God said, because of this, a man should leave his father and mother and be joined with his wife, and the two will be one flesh. So they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, humans must not pull apart what God has put together. Those of us who have been married for any length of time know that the person that said marriage is a 50-50 proposition is a liar and an idiot. Marriage is a 100-100. You have to give it your all the time. There will be times when the wives will support the husbands. There will be times when the husbands will support the wives. There will be times when you hold each other up. But divorce itself was not God's intention. And again, I try to be very careful because in 20 years I've seen, and it is mostly men, I've seen quite a number of men who were morons, and they don't understand that the second part of the verse that says, wives, submit to your husbands, says, husbands, love your wives and be willing to die for them. I heard this morning that the only right a husband really has in marriage is to die for his wife. Marriage is God's creation. I am talking about wives who do the best, or mothers who do the best they can. I am not being critical, I promise you. But children need the role model, the example, the mentorship of both mothers and fathers. I want to say it was Dr. James Dotson, but some good preacher years ago said that boys, as they grow up, will need their fathers more and more and want their fathers less and less. That I can admit to that. I needed the guidance and the discipline of my father, and I wanted him to stay out of my life. I am saying that it does not take a village, it takes a family. I think we miss something important when we miss the fact that Adam was created outside the garden, in the wilderness, if you would, and Eve, the pinnacle of creation, was created inside the garden. Men are needed to temper and test young men, but women are needed to civilize young men. What has happened is women have been lied to about their worth, and they have been told that their only worth is in their physical attractiveness. And that is just absolutely not true. Women have so much more to offer than the world is telling them. And men are not complete when we are alone. There are far too many uncivilized, pretend adult men running around who need civilizing. And the Bible talks about men needing wisdom. And in the Bible, wisdom is referred to as a woman. My point is, from reading the article I was reading this morning, if 40% of all the births in our country are to unmarried women, we're in serious trouble, because we're not going to remain. We don't have to go back to the 1950s, but there does need to be a family unit that is the basis. My own father was overseas part of the time when I was growing up. And so my mother was a single parent for a good part of that time. But my grandfathers stepped in and provided that mentoring that I needed, that discipline that I so desperately needed. If we're going to ever have any hope of saving this world, of transforming this world, we're going to have to recommit ourselves to the institution of marriage. Some people shouldn't get married, but the institution is important for our society and for Christianity. Prospect, I love you. I'm looking forward to where we're going in the future. So may God richly bless you today and this week.